Hi, my name is Emma.
Hi, my name is Xavier, and we would like to welcome you to Curious Conversations, a podcast for kids by kids.
It's a podcast where we have conversations with adults and kids from all walks of life to learn about their passions and what inspires them, which we know will inspire us and hopefully inspire you too.
Why us, you might ask? Well, we love to ask questions. We are twins, and we just turned 11, and we have over a decade of experience being kids and having a point of view on many topics.
We thought a podcast would be a great way to learn something new and explore our interests in a different way, so we thought, why don't we give it a try? On today's episode, we are thrilled to be talking to Jay Onrait, the host of SportsCentre with Jay Onrait on TSN.
Brought to you by McDonald's. Not our show, Jay's show.
I can't believe that we're interviewing someone we watch every day before school. That's crazy.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm Emma.
Hi,
And
Emma.
I'm Xavier.
Hi,
Hello.
Xavier. Nice to meet you.
Hi. You too. So what is it like to be on the TSN shows?
It's really fun. I mean, growing up, I watched a lot of TV, and I thought, doing TV sounds like a pretty fun thing to do with your career. It seemed like kind of daunting to do because I knew that lots of people wanted to be on TV, and it was a fun job. So lots of people want to do fun jobs. So I wasn't sure if it would work out, but I kind of lucked out, and I've been doing it for a long time now. So it's great. I love it.
So we know you've talked to lots and lots of people, but what is one of the best interviews you've ever done and why?
Great question. There've been so many good ones. One of my favorites was Will Ferrell. I got to interview Will Ferrell for his movie Blades of Glory. That was where he played a figure skater who danced with another male figure skater, and it was really, really funny. And he was really great. He was really sweet because the way it works is they're called press junkets. And so if someone puts out a movie, the stars of the movie, they'll fly him to a hotel and they'll set up a hotel suite. And then you as the journalist show up to the hotel and you get 2 minutes with Will Ferrell. And so it's like you get 2 minutes and then another journalist behind you gets 2 minutes. And then the journalist behind that gets 2 minutes. So you only get 2 minutes. It's super quick. So you have to be really ready with your questions and ready to go. So I had this idea that I would have him introduce the show that night, my show. And, sometimes when you do that with people, they've been doing interviews all day. They might not be that friendly or whatever. But he was totally into it and totally sweet about it. And he was just awesome. So, yeah, that was a really good experience. Generally, I've had great experiences with people interviewing them. I've never really had anyone be a jerk or anything.
Wow, that's great. No one really likes interviewing jerks.
No.
So we know you film live. Can you tell us a time something didn't go as planned and you handled it live?
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much happens every night. Pretty much every night there's something where we plan it and then it all falls apart and you have to improvise. So, but one I remember specifically very early in my career, I was doing an update. We used to do these updates on the top of every hour for about a minute. And, it would usually just be me, say, voicing over like a highlight of a game and saying that, the rest of the highlights would be coming up on the show later. And, but this particular time, the wrong tape ran. So I think it was supposed to be baseball and ended up being football, and I didn't have the right script. So I had to just sort of ad-lib my way through it, as they say. I just had to tap dance. That's another way we put it in the industry. I tap dance a little bit. So you end up getting pretty good at it, after a while, because it's technology. Sometimes the wrong tape's going to run or the wrong video is going to run or whatever. And you have to be ready for it. You have to be able to adjust on the fly, and you can't get too frazzled. You can't get upset about it because that's uncomfortable for the viewer for sure. So yeah, basically, it's a good lesson. Like sometimes I like when things go wrong because it's like a good test for me. Like it's like, okay, I can handle this, no problem. Like if everything went smoothly all the time, it probably wouldn't be a great thing, because when things did go wrong, then I wouldn't be able to handle it. So I actually do like when things go wrong once in a while, just to prove to myself that I can handle it okay.
So, we know you're also a writer because you're a journalist. So I do love to write as well. So do you write everything for your show, and what advice would you give to young writers?
All the stuff where I appear on camera, I write all that stuff. And
Wow.
I always have written all that stuff, and it's great. I love it too. I love writing. My advice to young writers is just to write. I find I think like Roger Ebert, the famous film critic, said, your ability to write will come as you start writing. Like you think it's so daunting to just get started, but the more you write, it's like anything in life. I think it's all about repetition. And, so whether you want to be a broadcaster or an athlete or whatever, you just have to do things over and over and over and over, and you'll get better at them. And writing is absolutely no different than any of that. The more you write, the more comfortable you're going to get, the more you're going to find your own voice. That's such a key thing, in writing now, is finding your own voice and then kind of letting that voice go out into the world. That's what makes you unique. So you got to find that, but you won't find it if you just think about it. You have to start to write, and you have to do it. That's how it'll happen.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, do you have a favorite hockey team and or player? We thought we saw a picture of you on Twitter in a Montreal jersey.
Oh yeah, that was my parents put that jersey on me when I was a little kid. My dad was a Montreal fan, so but I don't really have a favorite team. And I tend to root for players who have never won championships, because I like when great players win championships. So, for example, this last NBA Finals, Chris Paul of the Phoenix Suns, great players, played 16, 17 years in the NBA, but he's never won a championship. So I was rooting for him, because I hate when really great players don't win a championship. It seems like such a shame. So that's kind of who I seem to root for these days. So, I'd really love, Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon, like these great young hockey players. I'd love to see them all win championships. So
What about Joe Thornton?
Yeah, Joe Thornton, sure. Yeah, I'd love to see him win it. That would be amazing. Now that he's with Florida, he's got a great chance. They're having a great season. So, yeah, that would be awesome to see him win one.
That would be amazing.
So I am a Montreal fan, so I think your dad did the right thing by putting that jersey on you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't become a Montreal fan like he is, but I grew up near Edmonton, so I was watching the Oilers growing up.
I am a Toronto fan.
Oh, yeah.
And so is all of my other family members.
Right.
So we always try to change her, but she never does.
How did you become a Montreal fan?
Carey Price, I'd say, because I'm a goalie.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Yeah. And when I was 7, I think. I don't remember how old I was, but we saw him in Pittsburgh, so that was really cool. And there was 2 penalty shots that game.
Oh, wow. Did he stop them?
Yeah. Yeah, there was one each team, so one he stopped, and then the other goalie stopped, so
Oh,
no one
cool.
scored.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want us to tell you about our hockey teams?
Sure. Okay.
So I play select for the Waterloo Wolves.
Oh, nice. Cool jersey.
And my brother plays the U18 Waterloo AAA U18 for Waterloo. So this is a very big year for our brother.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you guys are pretty good athletes yourselves.
Yeah, I like sports. I play for the Cambridge Roadrunners, A.
Nice.
So, outside of sports, what are your interests and passions?
I have a young family, so my family's sort of my main passion and interest right now. We have little kids, so last night we went out trick-or-treating. That was really fun. And other than that, I like to go to see live music, though you haven't been able to do that very much over the past year and a half or so, but I'm looking forward to doing that again. And I love music in general. I generally listen to a lot of music and enjoy a lot of music. So that's kind of my my hobby outside of sports.
What band do you like to listen to?
I like to listen to anything sort of from 1959 on. So I like a lot of jazz. I like Beatles, Rolling Stones. I like the Byrds. I like Fleetwood Mac. I like Pavement. I like Nirvana. I like Steely Dan. I love Steely Dan. Yeah, there's so many bands I love. Right now I'm listening to the new War on Drugs album. It's really, really good. I would highly recommend it.
I love Michael Jackson.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have a couple of his records. I remember
So do we.
when I was about your age, was when Thriller came out in 1983, and it was the biggest record of all time. I'll never forget how popular it was. It was so popular that every single person I knew had it on cassette tape and listened to it over and over and over again. He was by far the biggest star in the world. When I was your age, he was the biggest star out there.
We have a jukebox and we have Thriller on it.
Oh, cool.
And I love listening to it, but Emma doesn't really like Michael Jackson, so.
Oh, no, not a fan?
I prefer jazz. I play the alto saxophone, so.
Oh, cool. What kind of jazz do you like? Do you have like a favorite musician?
No, I just like it's just sometimes nice to listen to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, have it. I know. We love to listen to jazz at night when we're having dinner and stuff. It's the best.
Who or what inspires you?
Great question. I think I get inspired by I don't know, just kind of my desire to continue to create and to continue to work in a field where I can be creative and do different things every day. And I always consider myself really fortunate to be in kind of a creative business. Even though I'm a reporter and I'm supposed to be a journalist, a lot of what I try to do is be creative within that medium, if you know what I mean. I try to do things differently because there's, so many amazing sports journalists out there. But everyone kind of does things the same way. So I'm always inspired to try to do things just a little bit different. That keeps me inspired, I think.
If you weren't a broadcaster and you could play a pro sport, what would it be and why would you choose that sport?
Great question. It would be soccer. I would play professionally in Barcelona for FC Barcelona. And the reason I say that is because just imagine that, right? Living in Spain, playing professional soccer would be the greatest thing ever. It would just be so fun and cool to live over there. And soccer stars are, the biggest global stars. And also I wouldn't have to worry about getting a concussion or anything because there's no contact. Well, there is contact, but you know what I mean. You don't see a lot of concussions in soccer. So, yeah. So I don't know if you can see I have a little bit of a black eye, though, because my 2-year-old son kneed me right in the eye the other night. So he might be an MMA fighter, I think.
Yeah. So what's your favorite sport to watch and what's your favorite sport to play? Like, are they different?
My favorite sport to watch is still hockey. And my favorite sport to play nowadays, there's two. I really only play two sports now. I play golf, but I haven't even done that very much because I have little kids. And I like to ski. I love to ski. The only thing I don't like about living in Ontario is our ski situation is
It's not the best.
Where is your studio?
Our studio's in Scarborough.
Okay, so I drove by it on the way back from my tournament.
Oh, cool. Yeah. We're right across from the Scarborough Town Center. You see the CTV TSN building there. The Cowan and the 401, that's where our studio is, yeah.
So if you are live, what do you do during the commercials?
Well, you guys are asking some awesome questions, by the way. So usually, I was telling someone this last night, actually, my producer, his or her job is to make sure the show is on time, to make sure that we get everything in the show that we need to get in. And so in the commercial breaks, he or she is usually saying to me, okay, in order for us to continue to be on time, I'm going to have to drop this segment. So originally, and what I have like a lineup that shows me what's coming up in the show, and I'll be able to cross out something that he drops from the upcoming segment. And we can talk about what's coming up, and we can talk about, how we're going to present it, what we're going to do, and if there are any changes or anything like that, or maybe something got added late. Maybe there was some post-game clips from a player that were really good, and we'll add those in last minute, so he might tell me about that. So usually in the commercial breaks, it's me maybe getting a sip of water, talking to the producer, making sure I know what's coming up in the next break, because the breaks are only 2 minutes. Yeah. So we don't have much time to talk about what's coming up. So that's usually what's happening in the commercial breaks.
So I know that hockey games can run very late with the time differences and things like that. So what do you do since your show is live at midnight? What do you do if like a game runs later with overtime, shootout, or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, and this happens often. In fact, last Thursday, we had 3 Canadian teams playing on the West Coast. And 2 of them were 10:30 Eastern starts. 7:30 local. So to your point, all those games, by the time we went up live at midnight, they were done by the end of the show, but when the actual highlights were running during the show, it's at the beginning of the show, so the games weren't over yet. So then after the midnight show's over, then we have to go back, and now that these games are over, I have to revoice these highlights so that they have the final score and maybe there's a last minute goal or something we've added to those highlights. But the real tricky thing is we have to make those highlights fit into that hole that we created in the original show, right? So if the original highlight, say it was Montreal and San Jose, that original highlight was like a minute, then the fixed one, the one that's going to run all morning, has to also be a minute. So we have to kind of cut it to perfectly fit into those holes. So it's a very tricky, sort of complicated thing. It's almost like a puzzle, like solving a puzzle in a way. And we have to make it work because the show can't be longer than an hour, right? It has to be an hour because it's going to run over and over and over again. And it's going to start at the top of the clock. When people are tuning in at the top of the clock, they're expecting the show to start at the top of the clock. So yes, everything has to fit into that hole. So that's kind of one of the complicated things we have to do is one of the nighttime shows to make sure that works out for the morning.
We saw that you covered the Olympics. What was that like?
It was really fun. Career highlight for sure. Got to do it 3 or 4 times. Just an amazing experience. It's still, to me, my favorite sporting event because it's still amateur sports. I know there's a lot of corporate money involved in sponsorship and stuff, but in terms of the athletes themselves, it's still kind of pure. The athletes are amazing. I love the fact that they work their whole lives just for these, moments every 4 years. And I know they're doing World Cup events all throughout, but, there's nothing like the Olympics. So, and the other side of the Olympics I love is that, you really get to see the world. You really get to see different parts of the world, places you maybe never thought you'd ever go. I never thought I'd go to Korea, but got to go to Korea for the 2018 Olympics and just loved it. Thought it was an amazing country. So, you get that added bonus where you get to see the world a little bit. So, yeah, the Olympics are definitely my favorite thing to cover, for sure.
We love them, too. Did you see any live events like them in live?
Yes, many times. Yeah, it's like I said, it's just the best experience you could possibly have. I think everybody should try to get to an Olympic Games if they get the opportunity. I would highly recommend it.
Do you like it better when it's live, like in front of you?
That's a good question. Not necessarily. I mean, sometimes I find, like, not just for the Olympics, but with every sport, it's, television coverage is becoming so good that it's almost like, for example, the NFL. Sometimes I find like watching an NFL game on TV is better than seeing it live because you can see the play better. You can follow the play better. So yeah, not necessarily, I would say.
So are you excited that the NHL is back in the Olympics?
Yes, I'm very excited about that. It's great for the game. It's great for the NHL. yeah, it's just all around a huge win, I think, for everybody, and especially for the viewers and for the people who are there.
And then it also makes you realize how diverse the NHL is. You never really realize that until they're on their home teams.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool. Yeah. To see where everybody originates from and how great all these countries are at hockey. It's awesome.
So in the Summer Olympics, like that recently happened this summer, so I do also play field hockey. So it's great to see it in like the Olympics. But have you ever covered field hockey?
I never really have, other than the Olympics. Yeah. So there's a few sports like that where, other than the Olympics, like water polo, so track and field. Even we barely touch track and field on our show because we just don't have the time to do it. So,
and also like they're more popular in like Europe and things like that.
For sure, yeah. Absolutely.
Because field hockey is really like it's kind of like a hockey in Europe because like men and women can play it both. So.
Right. Yes. Yeah. No. It's I love the sport. I love watching at the Olympics. That's another thing you love about the Olympics is you end up watching sports that you don't necessarily watch all the time, and it's fun. It's interesting. Even a sport like volleyball, I've always said like volleyball should be more popular as a spectator sport because when you watch it at the Olympics, it's so spectacular, right? It's so fast and exciting, and you're thinking to yourself, why can't this sport be more popular? So. Oh, my son just came in here.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hello.
Andy's gone.
So yeah, we saw that you're on your show this morning. There was an NCAA highlight from volleyball.
Yes, exactly.
It was really nice.
Yeah, exactly, and I think I said something about it. How much I love volleyball, buddy. 1 second, my coffee. 1 second. Yeah. So no, I'm with you. I love watching. I think it's just an exciting sport. Not everybody's into it, but I love it. I played it a lot in school, and I love it.
Your son's very cute. What's his name?
Oh, Ethan.
Hi,
Ethan.
So our favorite Olympic sport, well, mine specifically, it's really hard to choose for me because I feel like this Olympic sports make everything interesting.
Yes, agreed.
But I find the most interesting sport is the biathlon. I think
that's really wild, right? You're like, how did these two things come together?
Yeah.
I know. Everyone always says that about the biathlon. It's like, who invented this? Who decided to come up with skeet shooting and cross-country skiing together?
Yeah.
I know. It's very funny, isn't it?
And so probably mine is the speed skating because certain of the tracks are small and they just keep going around, and they can like fall, and how they wipe out is they just go wee. It's fun.
Good description of a wipeout. I would agree. Yeah, I really love the short track speed skating. I think it's really and one of the great things about it is Canada's always good at it, right?
Yeah, that's a plus.
It's nice that we can root for our own skaters.
So before we wrap up, do you have any questions for us?
I don't. I guess my only question is, shouldn't you guys be in school?
Yeah. Well, we have 2 interviews today, so we get to stay home.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. You guys are doing a great job. You asked me a ton of great questions today. This has been a blast. Thanks so much for having me this morning.
Thank you for coming.
No, thank you so much for coming.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing interview.
I found it very interesting that he had to work after the show, and he had to redo highlights from games that finished after his show lifetime.
I love that during the commercials, Jay doesn't just wait until they get running. He changes stuff that he was going to say and takes stuff out so the timing's just right. And he does it all in 2 minutes.
I also love that how he wrote all his own script.
I also love to hear all about Jay's favorite musicians and bands. It was amazing to hear his interest out of sports.
I loved hearing his stories about the Olympics. I bet it's very different broadcasting in the Olympics, getting to know the players going all around the world. Very, very interesting. Be sure to tune in to Jay's show weeknights on TSN, or you can watch it in the morning if you're an early riser. Thank you for listening, and I know all the shows you listen to probably say this, but please rate the podcast and download the episode. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That'll be in the show notes. And if you want to say hi to us, we'd love to connect with you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Curious Conversations.
Bye.